Welcome. Throughout human history, death has often arrived with recognizable faces: the brutal scythe of war, the raw devastation of natural disasters, or the quiet decline of old age. But sometimes, death arrives unannounced, without a face or a name. It lurks in the gentlest touch, the most passionate kiss, and within the very blood flowing silently beneath our skin. Tonight, we unseal a medical file, each page steeped in tears and pervasive stigma. It's a record of a pandemic that irrevocably reshaped how humanity loved and trusted one another. We now know it by 3 letters: HIV. Yet, before it acquired that cold scientific designation, it was an unnamed terror, a phantom gliding through metropolises, knocking on doors, leaving behind the emaciated bodies of the young, withered like dry leaves. Let us rewind time to the summer of 1981. As the world swirled in the vibrant, exhilarating rhythm of disco, oblivious to the gathering storm, the first ominous tremors of an unforeseen apocalypse began to surface in a quiet corner of Los Angeles. It was June of 1981 in Los Angeles, California, at the UCLA Medical Center. There, a bright young immunologist named Dr. Michael Gottlieb was about to confront a medical enigma. During those sweltering early summer days, Dr. Gottlieb observed something profoundly strange. Something so illogical and unprecedented that he found himself questioning his own perceptions. Within his hospital, 5 patients were admitted in critical condition. Their common thread was chilling. All were young men, barely in their 20s. Previously, they had been the picture of robust health, strong, vibrant, full of life. Yet now, they lay struggling for breath in hospital beds, their lungs ravaged by a rare and aggressive fungus called Pneumocystis carinii. This organism is ordinarily harmless. It exists ubiquitously around us, and a healthy individual's immune system can easily defeat it without effort. It typically only preys on those whose immune systems are utterly annihilated, usually 90-year-old individuals nearing death, or late-stage cancer patients undergoing intensive chemotherapy. But these 5 young men defied all medical logic. These young men, neither old nor cancerous, suffered a baffling immune system collapse. Their bodies' defenses vanished, leaving them vulnerable to parasitic fungi. Dr. Gottlieb discovered their TCD4 cell counts, immune system commanders, were virtually 0. Crucially, all 5 men were homosexual. On June 5, 1981, the CDC published a brief report on these unusual pneumonia cases in gay men. Initially overlooked, this bulletin soon became recognized as the grim birth certificate of the HIV/AIDS pandemic. Within months, cases exploded from 5 to hundreds, overwhelming hospitals. Patients presented with strange purple lesions, severe emaciation, persistent fevers, and chronic diarrhea, dying quickly and painfully. The medical community panicked. This mysterious illness promised a certain death. By late 1981, fear gripped the nation. Concentrated within the gay male community, the disease was cruelly mislabeled as Gay-Related Immune Deficiency, GRID, or gay cancer. Initially, the disease was given names like Gay-Related Immune Deficiency or gay plague, which embedded a profound social stigma. This nomenclature led to a horrific misconception. Many believed the illness was divine retribution, a punishment from God for what they perceived as a deviant lifestyle. A dangerous illusion of safety spread among the heterosexual population, fostering a belief that this was a disease of others, not us. Yet, viruses are indiscriminate. They do not recognize gender, religion, or moral codes. Their only concern is the invasion and replication within living cells, utterly indifferent to human prejudice or societal judgment. However, by 1982, that comforting illusion of safety was brutally shattered. The disease, initially confined in public perception, began to appear in new, alarming populations. It emerged among intravenous drug users, then, tragically, among hemophiliacs, individuals whose lives depended on regular blood transfusions. But the most horrifying discovery was its presence in newborn infants, babies who had no part in the perceived lifestyles associated with the disease. This devastating realization forced a grim truth upon society. The virus was not a moral arbiter. It was a biological agent that knew no boundaries, tearing down the false distinctions people had desperately clung to. Imagine the palpable fear that permeated American hospitals during this era. The atmosphere was akin to a medieval battlefield, an invisible enemy sowing panic. Doctors and nurses, seasoned professionals accustomed to the grim reality of death, now found themselves trembling with unprecedented anxiety. They donned full protective gear, sealed from head to toe like astronauts venturing into an unknown, hostile environment, before daring to enter patient rooms. Food trays were not handed over but placed outside doors, then pushed in with feet. A stark illustration of the profound terror that prevented anyone from getting too close, isolating the sick in their final moments. The grim reality extended even to the deceased. When a patient succumbed, their body was meticulously wrapped in 2, then 3 thick layers of plastic sheeting, sealed tightly with adhesive tape, a desperate attempt to contain the perceived threat. Funeral homes, overwhelmed by fear and lacking guidance, outright refused to accept the remains. Cemeteries followed suit, denying burial. Compounding this tragedy, many families, paralyzed by terror and profound shame, heartbreakingly declined to claim the bodies of their own children. These young men, once the pride and joy of their families, now faced death in absolute solitude, denied a comforting touch, a final embrace, or even a simple goodbye. This was an era defined by profound ignorance and rampant misinformation. Whispers and rumors spread like wildfire, alleging that the disease could be transmitted through casual contact, respiratory droplets, sweat, doorknobs, even a mere glance. The fear was so pervasive that simply exhibiting a telltale purple Kaposi's sarcoma lesion on your skin could lead to immediate dismissal from your job, eviction from your home, and total abandonment by friends. Victims were effectively branded, becoming pariahs, modern-day lepers of the 20th century. This social condemnation, fueled by unfounded fears, was as devastating as the physical illness itself, stripping individuals of their dignity and their place in society. Amidst this widespread panic and social chaos, the biggest questions remained agonizingly unanswered. Who was this silent killer? Where did it originate? And why had it emerged with such ferocity at this particular moment in history? Relentless scientific investigation soon began to dismantle the initial prejudiced assumptions. Scientists rapidly realized that GRID, or gay cancer, were not only stigmatizing but also fundamentally incorrect names. They discovered that the disease primarily spread through blood and sexual contact, much like hepatitis B, yet it was exponentially more virulent and destructive. This critical understanding marked a turning point, allowing for more accurate research and public health strategies. Finally, in late 1982, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, officially recognized this shift by renaming the illness to what we now know as AIDS. Renamed AIDS, Acquired Immunodeficiency Syndrome. The disease now had a scientific moniker, but the underlying fear remained pervasive. While clinicians valiantly fought to prolong lives, a pivotal underground race was igniting in the world's most advanced laboratories. This was a frantic quest to identify the true face of the unseen enemy. The scientific world divided into 2 powerhouses: the historic Pasteur Institute in Paris, and the cutting-edge National Institutes of Health in Washington. A transatlantic rivalry to be the first to isolate this deadly virus under a microscope. But at what cost to scientific integrity and collaboration? The year was 1982, and the intense hunt for the killer was fully underway, promising both breakthroughs and potential conflict. Away from Gallo's established theories, the French team pursued entirely new avenues. Their meticulous search, driven by pure scientific curiosity, aimed to uncover the true culprit. Then, on one fateful afternoon, peering through her microscope, researcher Françoise Barré-Sinoussi observed a peculiar enzyme activity. It was a clear, unmistakable signature, the telltale sign of a retrovirus, actively reverse transcribing its genetic material. This was it. After countless hours of painstaking work, the team had finally isolated the elusive agent. They had captured a minuscule, spherical virus, studded with sharp spikes. Unlike Gallo's theories of an oncogenic virus that rapidly destroyed cells to cause cancer, this pathogen operated differently. Instead, it systematically and brutally annihilated the vital TT4 immune cells, leaving the body defenseless. Luc Montagnier, recognizing its unique characteristics and its association with swollen lymph nodes, named it the lymphadenopathy-associated virus, or LAV. The discovery marked a critical turning point, identifying the true nature of the enemy attacking the immune system. In May 1983, the French team proudly published their groundbreaking discovery in the prestigious journal Science. This should have been a moment of global triumph, a collective sigh of relief. Yet an unsettling silence followed. The world did not erupt in celebration. This silence was largely due to Robert Gallo, arguably the most powerful figure in virology at the time, who simply refused to believe. He dismissed the French lab as a weak, insignificant virus incapable of causing such a devastating pandemic. Gallo remained stubbornly focused on finding his own HTLV virus. And so, humanity tragically lost another precious year, a year of doubt, scientific infighting, and needless debate, while thousands continued to succumb to the merciless disease. It wasn't until the spring of 1984 that the United States finally made its official announcement. U.S. Secretary of Health and Human Services, Margaret Heckler, convened a momentous press conference. With absolute clarity and conviction, she declared to the world, "Today, we have found the probable cause of AIDS." Standing confidently beside her was Robert Gallo. His face beaming with assurance, he then revealed that he too had isolated the causative virus, christening it HTLV3. The world watched, eager for answers, as the American scientific establishment presented its findings, seemingly bringing an end to the agonizing search. Secretary Heckler didn't stop there. She went on to make a promise that would later echo through history as a source of profound anguish and unfulfilled hope. "We hope to have an experimental vaccine in about 2 years." Across America, a wave of jubilation erupted. Robert Gallo, presented as the architect of this monumental breakthrough, was instantly hailed as a national hero. He graced the front pages of countless newspapers and magazines, celebrated as humanity's savior, the man who had conquered the most terrifying plague of the era. The world dared to breathe a collective sigh of relief, believing the nightmare was nearing its end. But back in Paris, Luc Montagnier and his stunned colleagues watched the news unfold with growing dismay. As details of Gallo's HTLV3 were broadcast, they meticulously examined the genetic structure of the virus he had just announced. A chilling realization dawned upon them. It wasn't just similar, it was identical to the lab virus the French team had painstakingly discovered a full year earlier. Not 90% similar, not even 99% identical, but a perfect, undeniable match. The implications were staggering, casting a long shadow over the American triumph and raising profound questions about scientific ethics and recognition. The scientific community was stunned. How could two identical viruses, discovered independently on different continents, be one and the same? A scandal erupted, fueled by suspicion. Was Robert Gallo guilty of stealing the virus sample that Montagnier had sent to the U.S. for consultation, only to then claim it as his own discovery? Or was it merely an unfortunate instance of accidental cross-contamination within a laboratory setting? This perplexing coincidence ignited a fierce debate that transcended scientific curiosity, evolving into a bitter contest for recognition and priority, setting the stage for a protracted, high-stakes battle. Instead of uniting to save lives, these two scientific superpowers, the United States and France, plunged into a relentless legal and diplomatic war that dragged on for years. They fiercely contested who had truly discovered the virus, each side claiming priority. The dispute also extended to the patent rights for the lucrative blood testing kits, a commodity promising millions of dollars in profits. Even the very name of the virus became a battleground. Was it LAV, as the French insisted, or HTLV3, as the Americans argued? This intense rivalry overshadowed the urgent global health crisis, prioritizing national pride and financial gain over collaboration. The international community grew exasperated by the prolonged and contentious naming dispute. It became glaringly clear that a common, universally accepted name was essential for effective global collaboration against the burgeoning epidemic. Finally, in 1986, an international committee convened to cut through the ego-driven squabble. They decisively discarded both the French LAV and the American HTLV3, opting instead for a new, neutral designation. This committee bestowed upon the virus the name we recognize today, Human Immunodeficiency Virus, or HIV, a name that concisely described its devastating effect on the human immune system, fostering unity in the fight. The legal quagmire finally required intervention at the highest political level. In 1987, U.S. President Ronald Reagan and French Prime Minister Jacques Chirac personally met to mediate the dispute. They agreed upon a diplomatic compromise, splitting the patent rights for diagnostic tests and officially recognizing both research teams as co-discoverers. It was a politically expedient accord, yet history often renders a more impartial judgment. In 2008, the Nobel Prize in Medicine for the discovery of HIV was awarded not to both parties equally, but specifically to Luc Montagnier and Françoise Barré-Sinoussi, conspicuously omitting Robert Gallo from the honor, thus providing a clearer, albeit delayed, historical perspective on the original discovery. But while scientists were locked in a fervent struggle for glory, and political leaders brokered agreements, the HIV virus remained relentlessly active. It cared nothing for human ego or national pride, nor did it distinguish between names like LAV, HTLV3, or HIV. Its sole singular focus was to spread. And in the precious years consumed by these heated debates and complex negotiations, the virus took full advantage. It silently and efficiently proliferated, escaping the confines of research labs and national borders, successfully spreading its devastating reach across the entire globe, transforming a scientific puzzle into a full-blown worldwide pandemic. However, HIV was not merely a medical crisis. It was also a profound human tragedy born of misunderstanding. And perhaps no story embodies this more poignantly than the unjust plight of one man, forever branded by media and history with the terrifying epithet, Patient Zero. His name was Gaëtan Dugas, a charming and handsome flight attendant. Popular belief, fueled by sensationalism, claimed he was the singular individual responsible for introducing AIDS to America, labeling him the Columbus of AIDS. Was this truly the case? Or was he, in fact, a victim of a careless typographical error, unjustly condemned by a desperate search for blame? This deep personal tragedy marks a pivotal, somber transition. In the early years of the epidemic, a palpable terror gripped America. The unknown was the greatest enemy, and people desperately sought answers. They craved more than invisible viruses or complex medical jargon. They needed a name, a face, a human embodiment of the catastrophe. In their fear, they yearned for a singular culprit, someone to bear the weight of the blame, an individual they could point to as the source of the death sweeping across the continent. It was a cruel twist of fate that destiny chose Gaetan Dugas for this unenviable role. Gaetan Dugas was an Air Canada flight attendant, a vibrant and charismatic figure who epitomized the era's spirit of freedom and allure. His profession took him across the globe, from the romantic streets of Paris to the bustling avenues of New York, the sun-drenched hills of San Francisco to the vibrant energy of Montreal. He lived life to the fullest, uninhibited and unapologetically open about his many relationships. Then, in 1980, Dugas noticed unsettling purple lesions, the telltale signs of Kaposi's sarcoma, appearing on his skin. He became one of the very first individuals in North America to be diagnosed with this mysterious and terrifying new illness. Unlike many who retreated into fear and denial, Dugas chose a different path. He cooperated fully and bravely with researchers from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control, CDC. He undertook an act of extraordinary honesty that few would dare. He provided the CDC with a detailed list of 72 sexual partners he had been with. His intention was purely altruistic. He wanted to help scientists trace the mysterious transmission pathways of the disease, genuinely believing he was contributing to a greater good. Little did he know that this very act of transparent cooperation would inadvertently thrust him into the unforgiving glare of public scrutiny. As CDC investigators meticulously mapped out the intricate network of infections, what they termed the cluster study, to understand the links between early patients in California and New York, a pattern emerged. Dugas, with his extensive travel and numerous contacts, was found to be connected to a startling number of other cases. In their internal records, they designated him Patient O. The O stood for out of California, signifying that he was a patient from outside the primary geographical cluster, specifically because Dugas was Canadian and not a local patient. However, a fateful transcription error, perhaps due to hurried handwriting, a rushed photocopy, or simple misunderstanding by those reviewing the files, transformed the letter O into the numeral 0, and so, Patient O became Patient 0. This seemingly minor clerical error carried an immense psychological weight, transforming a simple designation into a terrifying accusation. The numeral 0, implying the absolute beginning, the origin point, the very first individual, took root in the public consciousness. It insinuated that before Dugas there was no one, and that every subsequent infection, every tragic death that followed, was directly attributable to him. This powerful, yet tragically erroneous label cemented his image not as a victim who sought to help, but as the singular malevolent source of a global pandemic, forever branding him as the one who started it all. The book, and the band played on, became a global phenomenon, casting a dark shadow over Gaetan Dugas. Randy Schilt's depiction of Dugas as an arrogant death spreader ignited a media firestorm. Tabloid headlines screamed, "The man who gave us AIDS," portraying him as a lustful demon, a modern-day Typhoid Mary who knowingly infected others. Horrific tales emerged. Dugas, allegedly, would turn on the lights after intimacy, point to lesions, and mockingly declare, "I have gay cancer, I'm going to die, and so will you." The world's outrage was fierce. His family endured harassment, and his grave was desecrated. In 1984, Gaitan Duga died at just 31 in immense pain and isolation, forever branded a serial killer. But was he truly the first? Had he really brought the virus to America? The full truth remained buried for another 32 years. The true narrative of HIV's origins in America began to unfold in 2016. A pioneering team of scientists at the University of Arizona, led by Dr. Michael Warby, embarked on a groundbreaking endeavor. They meticulously located and revived aged blood samples, preserved since 1970, years before AIDS was even identified, from gay men in New York and San Francisco. Using advanced techniques, they successfully extracted viable HIV gene sequences from these nearly 40-year-old dried specimens. Employing a molecular clock, they meticulously reconstructed the virus's phylogenetic tree. The findings were staggering. HIV had already established itself in the U.S. by 1970 or 1971, nearly a decade before Gaitan Duga became ill. His viral sequence lay in the middle of this genetic tree, not at its root. Gaitan Dugas was not the first. He was simply one of thousands who, tragically, contracted the virus unknowingly here in America, not bringing it from abroad. The infamous Patient Zero label was a grievous, catastrophic misunderstanding. History was inflated by bloodthirsty media. Gaitan was not a monster. He was a victim of the virus and a victim of humanity. In a panic, society needed someone to blame, and Duga, handsome, famous, openly gay, was the perfect target for their anger. He became the symbol of a terrifying new disease, unfairly branded as Patient Zero, and the perceived source of the global epidemic, fueling a narrative of fear and prejudice. Once again, we see his face. He is a man of the Bantu tribe, residing in a small village nestled along the banks of the Sangha River. He is not a criminal. He is simply a husband and a father, driven by the primal need to provide for his family. In this remote corner of the world, life is dictated by the rhythms of nature and the constant pursuit of sustenance. His days are a testament to resilience, a daily struggle against the wilderness to secure food. Today, like many days, he embarks on a hunt. His focus unwavering, his purpose clear, to bring nourishment back to his loved ones, ensuring their survival in a challenging environment where every meal is hard-earned. Today, his target is a chimpanzee. For those in the Western world, the chimpanzee is often seen as an intelligent, almost human-like creature, a close relative deserving of protection and respect. But for the indigenous people of that era, living deep within the rainforests of Central Africa, the chimpanzee represented something far more fundamental, a crucial source of bushmeat. This was not a sport or a pastime, but a matter of sheer survival. In their challenging existence, bushmeat provided essential protein and nutrients, a vital component of their diet when other food sources were scarce. The hunt was a necessary, ancient ritual, deeply embedded in their culture and crucial for the sustenance of their community. The hunt unfolds, a timeless drama between predator and prey. Armed with a crude spear or perhaps a bow and arrow fashioned from forest materials, the hunter closes in. The air is thick with anticipation and the raw energy of the wild. The chimpanzee, caught unawares, or perhaps fiercely defending its territory, is struck and wounded. A piercing cry echoes through the trees, a sound of pain and rising fury. Enraged and desperate, the injured ape turns to fight. The hunter, knowing he must finish what he started, lunges forward. What follows is a brutal struggle for survival, a visceral dance of life and death played out amidst the dense undergrowth. An ancient duel between man and beast where instincts alone guide their every move. And in that chaotic, primal struggle, a seemingly minor accident occurred. It was a moment that would unknowingly alter the course of human history. Perhaps the chimpanzee, in its death throes, raked its sharp claws across the hunter's arm, leaving a raw, open wound. Or perhaps later, as the hunter meticulously butchered his prize to carry back to the village, his own sharp tool slipped, accidentally cutting his finger. Regardless of the exact scenario, the outcome was the same: an open portal. The chimpanzee's blood, now flowing freely, found its way into the hunter's fresh wound. Blood mixed with blood. A microscopic bridge was formed, connecting two species in an unforeseen and devastating way. This was the precise fateful moment. This was the exact moment scientists would later identify as spillover, the cross-species jump. Within the chimpanzee's blood resided a virus, silent and unseen. Its name, Simian Immunodeficiency Virus, or SIV. This virus, the ancient ancestor of HIV, had coexisted with chimpanzees for tens of thousands of years. For its primate hosts, SIV was generally benign, rarely causing severe illness. Their bodies had, over millennia, adapted and evolved defenses, reaching a delicate equilibrium with the pathogen. It was a part of their natural ecosystem, an invisible resident that caused little harm to its established home. But when SIV breached the barrier and entered a human body, it was akin to a foreign invader stumbling into uncharted territory. Typically, when a virus from an animal attempts to cross into a human, our immune system acts swiftly, eradicating the pathogen immediately. More often, the virus simply fails to adapt, unable to thrive in the new, hostile human body, and quickly dies out. Thousands of similar spillover events have occurred throughout history, countless hunters sustaining injuries, countless animal viruses attempting the jump, and thousands of times they failed. But this time, in 1908, something was profoundly different. This SIV strain proved exceptionally resilient, or perhaps the hunter's immune system was compromised, weakened by an ongoing battle with malaria or another tropical disease. We cannot know for certain, but what is clear is that this SIV virus survived. It navigated the foreign landscape, finding and recognizing the specific key to unlock the human TCD4 cell, its new sanctuary. The virus, SIV, found its ultimate host in a human hunter. Inside, it infiltrated his cells, replicating, mutating, and evolving from SIV into the formidable HIV-1. Initially, the hunter experienced only mild flu-like symptoms, as the virus lay dormant for years, silently spreading within his isolated village, passed from husband to wife, mother to child. But why did it not ignite a global pandemic in the early 20th century? The answer lay in isolation. Remote Cameroonian villages, separated by dense forests, confined the virus. Like a small spark on damp grass, it would flicker and die. However, European colonization inadvertently provided the wind for this spark. New roads, bustling river trade, and burgeoning cities. HIV, carried by villagers, journeyed along the Sangha and mighty Congo rivers, reaching Leopoldville, a burgeoning African metropolis. Here, a perfect storm awaited: a dense urban population, transient male laborers, and widespread prostitution, creating the ideal conditions for an epidemic. Chapter 5. The Silent Journey Along the Congo River. After its initial leap from a hunter in 1908, the HIV virus embarked on a crucial journey. Hitching rides on canoes, it quietly navigated the vast waters of the Congo River, making its way to what was then considered the bustling heart of colonial Africa. This destination was the city of Leopoldville, today known as Kinshasa, the vibrant capital of the Democratic Republic of Congo. During the pivotal decades between the 1920s and 1950s, Leopoldville flourished as a thriving colonial paradise. The Belgian administration had invested significantly, constructing extensive railway networks, establishing hospitals, and transforming the city into a pivotal commercial hub. This era of rapid development and urbanization created an unforeseen pathway for the virus, laying the groundwork for its expansion. The rapid urbanization of Leopoldville, while a sign of progress, brought with it profound social changes that inadvertently created fertile ground for the virus. Thousands of young, able-bodied men from rural areas were drawn to the city, seeking employment in the burgeoning mines and plantations. They left their families, wives, and children behind in their villages, leading to a severe demographic imbalance. At times, the ratio of men to women reached an astonishing 10-to-1. This stark disparity inevitably fueled a massive explosion in the sex work industry across the city. This widespread increase in transactional sex presented the first ideal condition for the virus to proliferate, establishing a broad pathway for sexual transmission. However, an even more terrifying condition was yet to emerge, one that would accelerate the epidemic. Ironically, the second, and arguably most devastating condition for HIV's spread originated from the very sector intended to save lives: medicine. During this period, the Belgian colonial administration launched extensive and ambitious health campaigns aiming to eradicate prevalent tropical diseases such as sleeping sickness and syphilis. These initiatives led to hundreds of thousands of injections being administered annually across the populace. However, despite the scale of these campaigns, medical supplies were tragically scarce and prohibitively expensive. Colonial doctors, operating with limited understanding of modern sterilization techniques, frequently resorted to rudimentary methods. Needles were often merely boiled briefly, or in some cases, simply rinsed with cold water before being used on the next patient. This lack of proper sanitation transformed medical tools into conduits of infection. The consequence of these inadequate medical practices was dire. A single hypodermic needle, meant for therapeutic purposes, could be reused on dozens, even hundreds of individuals in a single day. Imagine the devastating chain reaction. If the first patient carried the virus, transmitted from the original hunter, then the second, third, and even the 100th person to receive an injection that day would inadvertently be inoculated with a small amount of infected blood directly into their bloodstream. These shared needles effectively transformed into biological amplifiers, drastically escalating the epidemic. They took a handful of isolated infections and multiplied them into thousands of silently spreading cases. This was the critical mechanism that allowed HIV to establish a deep and widespread foothold. For decades, within the very heart of Kinshasa, the HIV virus found an ideal environment, embarking on what can only be described as a virulent feast. It silently proliferated, diversifying into numerous distinct strains right there in the bustling city. The question then arose: how did this insidious virus manage to cross the vast oceans and make its way to distant shores, particularly to the United States? The answer began to unfold in 1960, a landmark year when Congo finally achieved independence from Belgian colonial rule. With the Belgians' departure, a massive void in human resources emerged. The newly independent Congo faced a critical shortage of French-speaking professionals, doctors, engineers, teachers, leaving a significant operational gap that inadvertently created new pathways for the virus. In the early 1960s, a newly independent Congo faced immense challenges, calling for international assistance. Haiti, the world's first independent Black republic and the oldest French-speaking nation in the Caribbean, answered that call. Thousands of Haitian professionals, doctors, teachers, and dedicated civil servants journeyed to Congo, eager to contribute their expertise. Tragically, some of these compassionate individuals, while working tirelessly in Kinshasa around 1960, unknowingly contracted a new, silent virus, setting in motion a chain of events that would ripple across continents. The fragile political stability in Congo deteriorated after 1967, compelling many Haitian professionals to return to their homeland. Unbeknownst to them, they carried more than just memories and luggage. A silent, unwelcome guest traveled within their bloodstreams. Back in Haiti, the virus continued its clandestine spread. From Haiti, the path to the United States proved dangerously short, likely facilitated by two main routes, either through gay tourism, as Haiti was a popular destination for American gay travelers in the 1970s, or via the grim trade of plasma, where the blood of impoverished Haitians was cheaply bought and exported to American hospitals. By around 1970-1971, this unseen passenger, HIV, had officially reached New York City. For another decade, it remained largely hidden in the shadows, quietly proliferating within the gay community and among intravenous drug users. This silent spread continued until 1981, when it erupted into the devastating earthquake of an epidemic we witnessed at the beginning of this documentary. This entire journey, from its humble origins to a global health crisis, spanned 70 agonizing years. It was a tragic saga marked by unfortunate coincidences, well-intentioned kindness that inadvertently exacerbated the problem, and a profound lack of understanding regarding the nature of the emerging threat. Over 4 decades have passed since the world first grappled with the name AIDS. In that time, more than 35 million lives have been tragically cut short. These are not mere statistics. They represent 35 million unique individuals, each with their own stories, hopes, and dreams, left tragically unfulfilled. Beyond those lost, hundreds of millions of loved ones have been left behind, grappling with immeasurable pain and sorrow. The shadow of this pandemic stretches far and wide, touching countless families and communities. A stark reminder of the devastating human cost when a disease takes hold on a global scale. Today, thanks to miraculous advancements in medical science, HIV is no longer the automatic death sentence it once was. Antiretroviral, ARV drugs have transformed the lives of people living with HIV, allowing them to lead healthy, fulfilling lives with a lifespan comparable to anyone else. Moreover, pre-exposure prophylaxis, or PrEP, offers a powerful tool for preventing infection, empowering individuals to take control of their health. Crucially, the concept of undetectable, untransmittable, or UU, signifies that a person consistently taking their medication and achieving an undetectable viral load cannot transmit the virus to their sexual partners, effectively caging the monster that once terrorized humanity. The once terrifying monster has been caged, its power significantly diminished. Yet, the deep scars it left on humanity remain, a lasting testament to its destructive force. The most profound lesson gleaned from the HIV pandemic isn't found in virology, but in sociology. It teaches us with chilling clarity that silence kills. It underscores how fear and stigma are in many ways even more dangerous than the virus itself, amplifying suffering and hindering effective responses. As we move forward, we must remember this lesson. Knowledge, empathy, and open dialogue are our strongest weapons against both disease and prejudice. Indeed, human cruelty often proves more insidious than any virus. When we push groups to the margins of society, when we label illness as divine punishment, we create fertile ground for disease to thrive in the shadows. Gaetan Duga, the ill-fated patient zero, perished in isolation. A victim not just of the virus, but of the crowd's merciless judgment. Thousands of young men in the 1980s met their end without a single farewell, consumed by irrational fear. History will not judge us by our victories over a virus, but by how we treat those who carry it within them. As night deepens, the century-long journey of HIV/AIDS concludes here. May you close this chapter not only with knowledge, but also with a touch of profound compassion. For amidst a world teeming with unseen dangers, the only thing that keeps us truly human is empathy. Sleep well, and cherish every healthy breath you take. Do not fear the darkness, for tomorrow the sun will rise again, bringing with it new hope.